Welcome to Good Morning Joy, brought to you by our friends at Brave Healer Productions, waking the world up to what's possible for healing, one brave word at a time. Welcome back, my friends. I'm so glad that you joined me. Take a seat. No need to stand for me. I do appreciate you being here, and I know I might sound a little bit bossy. My other half says that I get a little managerial sometimes. We all know what that means. The only rules, though, that I have here today are to grab your favorite cuppa, get comfy, because today is going to be a great show. Coming up, I have got an incredible guest who is making waves in the world, helping our boys to normalize the feelings that they're feeling. She is a TEDx speaker and an author. Raelene S. is here today. And then, coming up on today's Joy Report, we are going over to Italy to witness a man feel a human's touch after nearly 3 decades. And we're going to be meeting some peeps on the street on this week's Sharing with Sherry. But for now, I want you to stay right there. We've got a brand new question submitted on Dear Sherry from one of my followers on Facebook, and they wrote, "Dear Sherry, aren't you ever afraid to take risks and go after your big dreams?" Yes, every single time. But what I have come to realize is that not going after my dreams, not taking risks, that is scarier to me than ever going after them. One of my favorite quotes is by writer Hunter S. Thompson, and he says, "Life should not be a journey to the grave with the intention of arriving safely in a pretty and well-preserved body, but rather to slide in broadside in a cloud of smoke, thoroughly used up, totally worn out, and loudly proclaiming, 'Wow, what a ride.'" So yes, I am afraid, but I also know that when I take risks, there's also the chance for success. I mean, look around. So if we never took chances, I would never be able to share with you the next story coming up. We are traveling all the way to the land of art and fashion, and at least when I was there, a whole lot of gelato, to share with you the good news you should know about on this week's Joy Report. So a man was overcome with emotion after he just felt human touch for the first time in decades. Thanks to a new technology for those with prosthetic limbs, 57-year-old Fabrizio Daaji just received the new limb that actually senses temperature in a human touch. Now, it's not the first time that amputees have been able to feel sensation, but normally it's just the touch and the feel in their limb. But now, thanks to the mini touch developed by Italians and Swiss, people can feel the temperature and distinguish between the two. The developers are hoping that this is going to help amputees be able to feel that human connection again. We are so excited about this technology, so here is to science, to innovation, and to the incredible joy of rekindling human connection. So joining me now is Raelene S. She is a licensed family and marriage therapist and author of this amazing book, Let Boys Be Kids First, and she is a TEDx speaker. I am so happy to have you here, Raelene. Welcome to Good Morning Joy.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here.
I am so impressed by this book and the work that you're doing in the world. I would say, just right off the bat, that what you're doing is a paradigm shift for boys, for men in our world. And so I want to talk to you about that today, about just all of it. Mainly, what really set you forth on this path to help boys normalize and feel their feelings?
I think it started from when I was very young. I grew up in a neighborhood that was mostly all boys, And I got to play with them. We got to play baseball. We slid down grassy hills on cardboard. We did Halloween stuff. And I was just accepted in that group. I even got to go in the boys' tree fort. I mean, this is a girl, going in the tree fort. So I just embraced being a tomboy and never really even thought about it that much. Although I realized that with boys, a lot of the time they were kind of gauged on performance. So how good of an athlete, or how good of a academic, or that kind of thing. And I think they really missed the character part, the feeling part, which, being a girl, I got the best of both worlds. So I that's how I kind of grew up. Then my mom passed away when I was 8 years old of breast cancer, and my dad's drinking got worse. And I wrote him a letter because I was concerned about him. And Sherry, we never talked about it. It wasn't really socially acceptable for men to express their feelings. I mean, my dad was going through his loss.
Yeah.
You know, me and my brother were going through our loss, but we never talked about it. And they didn't really have counselors at that time. I didn't have a counselor at school. Dad didn't have a family counselor. And I think that over time, that just led to me later in life becoming a therapist, so I could provide a safe space for boys and men to talk about their feelings and to normalize that it's okay to experience grief and anxiety and depression. And so I think it's just kind of built in, and that's, kind of the career path that I ended up on.
I think what I find in this book, and what everybody, when they read it, will find in this, is that not only are you helping boys to normalize their feelings, but it's also really about creating a shift for how we see boys. And I know that you talk in the book about the boy code, a new boy code. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because that's what I think is something that's never been done. We just have kind of accepted how boys are.
Right. I think there, like you said, there's just this unconscious, it's unwritten. It's sort of this unspoken code that boys are supposed to be tough, they're supposed to man up, they're not really supposed to express their feelings, and they're supposed to have all the answers. And I'm like, well, that's not realistic. I mean, yeah, we want great leaders, we want strong people, but for men and women, boys and girls. And I think that we've ended up kind of putting boys in an emotional straitjacket. Like, it's not okay to cry. It's not okay to not have the answer. And that, I think, what you were saying, this new paradigm, is the emotional part. It's like to be a total human being. There's our physical, mental, spiritual, emotional part. And I just, as you can tell, that really drives me. And so I think that was kind of the next step. I mean, there's been a lot of work on men's and boys' issues, but when I approached this, I was like, okay, we can talk about the man code, but let's talk about more about that. What are the feelings behind that? Why are parents reluctant to hug their boys as much as their girls? What if a little boy starts to cry and a parent kind of gives them a dirty look? All of that is unconscious, and I want parents to think about that. Why am I doing that? Well, I'm afraid maybe my boy might become, people will think that he's kind of a mama's boy, or that he's soft, or that he's weak. And my whole argument is just the opposite. The more that boys can embrace their feelings and be supported for that, in however they express that, if they're silly or goofy or football player or whatever, embrace all of that so that they can gain self-confidence. If they've got self-confidence, they're not going to be looking outside. You do great work talking about that, how people looking to be validated outside of themselves, that's a never-ending, that's hard to find. If you can do that within yourself, then you're grounded. then it's okay. You can be a tomboy, a teen, a girl. You get to be you, which is so much of you. Like, we've talked about that.
Yeah, I love that you called it a teen, a girl, because it's so accepted that girls are tomboys, but why aren't we calling boys teen and girls? Like, why aren't we accepting these parts of themselves? Have you found that things have changed over the years, would you say, since you first started, doing therapy? Would you?
I think so. They're definitely, it's, me, I like to build. So it's like there's been a lot of great work done in the past. This is my piece to it, and I hope people go beyond that. So yes, I do think that it is becoming more socially acceptable. But like in the book, I say there's all of these mixed messages. You've got social media, you've got the locker room talk, you've got these different things going on. So I think boys are still trying to figure that out. And I think parents are still trying to figure that out. But yes, we are moving forward.
No, and it's great. And it's because of work like this and that you're doing. And I know you mentioned in the book, even characters in TV shows like Ted Lasso. I know it's one of my favorites. So I was like, yay, she talked about Ted Lasso. But just even that, and can you talk a little bit about that? And, with Ted Lasso and the empathy and the ways that we're now portraying, men, that it has made a shift a little bit.
I am so happy that has been such a big hit. Yeah. I mean, in my day, it was Andy Griffith. So if you've got the Andy Griffith show, if you've got the father, he's a sheriff, he has his little boy. That was really great back then. But again, we've had a lot of stuff kind of in between. And I think with Ted Lasso, why I'm so excited is because he's a genuinely good guy. None of this good guys finish last. I mean, he's out there. Yeah. Ted Lasso is a huge hit. And I think a lot of people can identify with him because he's a dad. He's a football, soccer, soccer coach, and his thing is, don't be judgmental, be curious. And, when his players went out of that locker room, what did they read above? It was believe.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got some amazing messages in there.
Yeah. Well, and I bring it up specifically because in your book, you give real life examples of what we can strive, what boys can strive to be, or how we can help, parents and teachers and coaches and everything to raise boys to be able to be like this, to have these kind of emotions and to be that admired. And so you give great exercises in the books for parents to give. Let me ask you, as far as like this new boy code, I mean, what do you think parents and teachers, what can they do to help our boys?
I think it starts early with social emotional learning or incorporating, like we've talked about, emotions, from early on, pre-K all the way through college is like, for little guys, how can I fill your bucket? Someone's hurt or they fall down on the playground. How can I help you? How can I fill your bucket? And then as they grow older, it's like accepting responsibility. The boys that I worked with that I talk about in there, it's like actions have consequences. How do you think that other person might feel if you did this? So, and then it's talking about character. We've got Ted Lasso. So, you can sit down with your teenagers and go, how do you think Nate felt? How do you think this guy in the locker room that's always getting towels thrown at him, how do you think he felt? And as Ted Lasso, as a parent, how must that have been for him, to see his wife get involved with someone else? And then they've got a therapist on the show, and I'm like, yes, So,
I mean, you're doing transformational work. I mean, you're working right now with teen sex offenders.
Yes.
You've worked in your book is in the juvenile reformed. Can you talk that? That's one of your proudest things right now. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Thank you. That's so nice. It's like, you want to do something for me that's really going to have an impact that people can really use. And so when I first wrote the book, I contacted the people at Santa Clara County Juvenile Probation Center, because that's where my referrals came from for the clients that I worked with. And I said, I've written this book. Can you please check it out? Can you consider it for your library? So I wait and I wait and I wait and I wait and I hear back, Raelene, we read your book. We think it will be a great fit to our library. We have put in a purchase order so that we can buy 4 copies. Sherry, it's like 4 copies. So that's there.
Yeah.
That's for the boys and for the supervisors and for, the parents that are involved in that program. So I'm super happy about that. And I want to see the book, in schools and in libraries, prisons, every therapist's office on the planet. It's just, let's get it out there.
What's been the biggest surprise that you have learned from writing this book and doing this work when it comes to boys or, the boys that you've spoken to?
I think what was really amazing for me, and I was kind of apprehensive at first, I really needed to do a lot of research and make sure, am I the right person to be doing this work? And I love kids, so I love working with kids. So I think it's just kind of that natural, is that relational experience and that bond. But the boys really matured before my eyes. By the end of the time, 8 or 9 months working with them, one of them said, I shouldn't have pressured that girl to have sex. She wasn't ready. That's maturity on his part. Another one said, I know better than going in the girls' restroom. Why did I do that?
Yeah.
And it's that kind of thing where they're really thinking about what happened and learning from that and maturing from that. So I think that was really positive. Another really positive thing is that one of the parents that I sat with, and this was such a gift for her and for me, she looked at me and she said, I was sexually abused by a bus driver when I was young. I think that affected how I've raised my son because I've been afraid to talk about sex. And she said, you're the first person that I've ever told this to besides my mom.
Wow.
And my mom didn't believe me. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad she was able to share that. I'm so glad I was able to be there to validate that and to listen to her. And when she and her son left the office that day, it's like she had her arm around his shoulders. I don't know. I just think that it was a pivotal moment.
Absolutely.
For her and her son. And that was such a great gift to me.
Yeah. You're doing you're not just transforming boys, but you're helping, as you just said, the parents be able to see their boys differently, and for the men growing up in our world. And what's been the best gift for you in doing this work when it comes to healing your own relationship with your parents?
Again, I was so close to my dad. I lost my mom early on, so I was very, very close to him. But yet he was an alcoholic, and so very high functioning. Loved him very much, love him to this day. He's passed away now. But I think it's just seeing that not everyone was John Wayne back then. I mean, that's what everybody, the two guys, they get into a disagreement and they beat each other up and they get up and they shake hands. And I'm like, what the heck? It's like that never worked for me. But yet men were that's kind of what they were expected to do. My dad was a very loving person, very open-minded. And I thank him for that, is that he just was a loving, open-minded person. Yeah. And so, but we all grow up within the times we grow up, and so you kind of have to figure out your path.
What's your hope with Let Boys Be Kids First?
Oh, wow. You asked me
big
that.
Question, I know.
I know, and if you look at the back, it's like, oh, we need a TED men conference, not a TED women conference, where people go and they're talking to women, but they're talking about men's issues. We need the men to show up, and we need a presidential commission on men so that we've got those branches out there that are supporting communities and supporting local governments, so that we've got programs. In our society, we have a lot of great programs for women. We need those. They're there. But we also need programs for men. Men also experience sexual abuse. They also go through divorce. They also deal with drug and alcohol issues. And it's been harder for men to find support. And that's part of my mission too, is that let's have places where men can go where they feel safe and they can get help.
Awesome. Well, I know it's going to do that. I'm going to continue with you, but we got to take a quick break for a word from our sponsors, and then we're going to come back and we're going to have some fun.
All right.
Let boys be kids first means letting boys have their emotions. It refers to their natural innocence and curiosity. We need a new boy code. We need to focus on our boys being good human beings and not worry so much about the man box.
Okay, Raelene, we're going to have some fun. So I know that the Golden State Warriors are your favorite team. Basketball is your favorite. And so I thought we would play a basketball themed game. And so I have a bunch of questions here, and you have a choice to answer a 1-point question, which is our free throw, a basket, which is our 2-point, or a 3-pointer. And the only thing you have to let me know is which question do you want, a 1-pointer, a 2-pointer, a 3-pointer. And the point of the game is you will get, if you gain 20 points, I'm gonna give you a Good Morning Joy t-shirt. Your very own. So we're gonna go fast with these so you can get as many points as possible. So all you have to do is tell me 1, 2, or 3, and I'll ask you one of these questions. You got it?
Okay.
All right, and we're gonna start the timer now.
3.
Oh, she went right on in. What 3 famous people would you want over for dinner?
Steph Curry, Ted Lasso.
Just say it, time's going. We gotta get those 20 points.
I know. Sherry Elise.
Oh my God, I'm so hungry already. Okay, 3, 2, or 1. What point do you want?
2.
2, all right. Who is your favorite person and why?
I'm not good at these kinds of questions.
Your husband.
That's exactly what I was going to say. My husband.
Okay, 3, 2, or 1?
2.
2, all right. What is something you've always wanted to learn?
Oh God, I'm working on Spanish. I'm doing Duolingo, and it's slow and it's tedious, but I'm going to keep at it.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
1.
How do you like to spend your free time?
Oh, okay, so we talked about this a little bit. I love to go to the park. I love being by water. So nature is very spiritually fulfilling for me.
Okay, let's go to another question. I want to get you to win this.
2.
2, all right. Who is your 3 things you're grateful for today?
Oh. Being here, being with my husband, just blessed to live in California.
Awesome. Okay, 3, 2, 1. We're still going.
1.
1. All right. What are you most excited about in your life right now?
Getting the message out about let boys be kids first.
Okay. 3, 2, or 1?
2.
2. If you could be any animal, what would it be?
We talked about this too. A dog.
A dog. What kind of dog?
A split between a golden lab and a Jack Russell Terrier.
Okay, I'm gonna give you this 3-pointer because I like the question. What would you do if you found a penguin in your freezer?
See if he's okay and if he needs more room in there.
All right, I don't know if we got the 20 points, but I'm giving you a t-shirt anyway. It's coming in the mail. Raelene, thank you so much for the work that you're doing in the world for Let Boys Be Kids First. I have one last question before you go, and it's just a bonus question. What secretly brings you joy?
Watching the Warriors. I really do love watching Steph Curry when he makes 3-pointers from when he's laying down or twisted around. Just amazing. And one of the core values of the Warriors is joy. It's competition, compassion, mindfulness, and joy. Those are core values of the Golden State Warriors. So it's incredible.
I love it. And your work that you're doing is helping with joy in the world, because a fully expressed person is a joyful person.
Thank you.
So thank you for helping our boys feel joy.
Thank you so much for this opportunity, Sherry. I love you.
And now it's time to go talk to our peeps on the street on this week's Do you have a secret song that you sing in the shower?
Rise Today by Altered Bridge.
Do you have like an entire, do you get down in the shower? Like, are you?
No, I'm 55. I don't want to fall.
Just stay put and
Stay in my lane.
What is something in your life that you would say that you're grateful for right now?
Oh, there's too much to name, There are always, in every moment I find that there is some or the other way in which the moment is supporting me. So if I'm just able to realize that in the moment, then it's tough to keep a count, but at the same time it's countless.
Yeah.
So
That was honestly, I just got emotional because I think that's what most people are looking for, is knowing that they're supported.
because in some places, there's like a person that helps me in the moment. In other points, there may be a little puppy that goes by my leg. Small things, and they bring me joy, and I'm grateful that they exist and I was able to experience that.
Thanks so much for joining us. I can't wait to see you next time on Good Morning Joy, where every day starts with a smile. And be sure to stay tuned for this week's Soul Hug. Welcome to Kana Shantivanam, the global headquarters of Heartfulness. I am so excited to take you on an in-venture, a journey to the center. Come along as we explore all parts of Heartfulness in hopes to be able to connect you back home. Welcome to Soul Hugs. Meet Kamlesh D. Patel, affectionately known to many as Daaji. He is a multiple best-selling author and the global leader of Heartfulness, which is a meditation practice by over 1 million meditators worldwide.
Knowledge is good, but not good enough. Feeling is better, experiencing is better than just the knowledge.
Yes.
Now what we have concluded now that experience is good, but not good enough. The reason is this: suppose you are invited to some king in India and you are spending 3 months in his palace and you enjoy everything. Hospitality is great, everything's great. You are experiencing a rich hospitality, generous hospitality of a king. But deep down in your heart, what would you think? I wish I was also as rich. Right? So divine experiences are great. But to become divine is another matter. So knowledge, good. Experiences are better. Experiences must move towards, now I must become that experience. Okay. Later on, I have noticed that too becomes a burden to you. Ask any rich man. Richness becomes the burden at some point.
So then ultimately you want for nothing?
You are free from everything. You transcend everything. It sounds very absurd when you say, I renunciate. This renunciation does not mean the lack of it.
Right.
Renunciation means it is there, you're not slave of it.
You don't need it.